A beautiful German shepherd lives alone in the Colorado wilderness for reasons no one understands. A young couple spots him on a remote hiking trail and makes it their mission to gain his trust. For 12 long months, they try everything to rescue this magnificent yet terrified dog. They face setbacks, heartbreak, and fleeting moments of hope. And just when they're about to give up, something absolutely incredible happens, something no one could have predicted. Get ready for a story of perseverance, compassion, and a bond that defies all expectations. This journey will change the way you think about trust, patience, and the extraordinary connection possible between humans and animals. The wilderness outside Boulder, Colorado, revealed its secrets slowly, only to those patient enough to notice. For Sarah Jenkins and Mike Coleman, both avid hikers in their early 30s, the remote trail system had become a sanctuary, a weekend escape from their high-stress careers in software development and physical therapy. It was on a crisp October morning that they first saw him. A flash of black and tan fur darted behind a rocky outcrop on a lesser-used trail. Only a glimpse, but unmistakably a German shepherd. "Did you see that?" Sarah whispered, gripping Mike's arm. "That was definitely a dog." Mike nodded, squinting in the direction the animal had vanished. "Way too big for a coyote. Somebody's pet, maybe." They continued cautiously until they reached a small clearing. There, about 50 yards away, stood the German shepherd. His coat, though dirty, bore the classic black saddle markings. His ears were alert, his body tense and ready to flee. But it was his eyes that struck them most, amber-colored and filled with a weariness that spoke of prolonged isolation. "He doesn't have a collar," Sarah noted quietly, "and look how thin he is." Even from a distance, his ribs showed beneath his fur. A long scar ran down his left flank, the fur never having grown back. When Mike stepped on a twig, the sharp snap echoed. The shepherd bolted into the underbrush like a ghost. "He's terrified," Mike said, concern clear in his voice, "but he doesn't look feral. That's a domestic dog." Sarah was already pulling out her phone, checking local lost pet listings. "Nothing here about a missing German shepherd. I'll check with the ranger station." At the ranger station, a weathered woman in her 50s named Diane confirmed their suspicion. "That's Ghost," she said. "Been out there at least 6 months that we know of. People see him from time to time, always alone, always keeps his distance." "Has anyone tried to catch him?" Sarah asked. Diane nodded grimly. "Animal control's tried 3 times. He's too smart, too fast, knows those mountains better than most rangers now." "Any idea where he came from?" Mike asked. "Some hikers found a car abandoned at a remote trailhead last winter," Diane explained. "By the time we investigated, it was buried in snow. Come spring, we towed it. Inside was camping gear, some dog food, but no sign of the owner. Search and rescue came up empty. Our best guess, that dog belonged to whoever abandoned that car." The story haunted Sarah and Mike on the drive home. The image of the German shepherd, alone, surviving in the wilderness, clearly once someone's pet, clung to them. "We could try," Sarah said at last, "to gain his trust." Mike looked over, recognizing the determined set of her jaw. After 7 years together, he knew that look well. "It could take months," he cautioned. "If animal control couldn't catch him—" "They tried to trap him," Sarah interrupted. "That's different from earning his trust." That night, they started researching how to rescue a dog like Ghost, one shaped by trauma, isolation, and survival instincts. What began as a conversation turned into something more, a mission, one that would test their patience, their ingenuity, and their hearts in ways neither could have imagined. The predators rolled in a blur of tan, black, and golden fur, snarling and snapping in a life-or-death struggle. Without conscious thought, Mike grabbed a heavy, fallen branch. Sarah began shouting and clapping, trying to distract the mountain lion. Mike swung the branch, not striking either animal, but creating a threatening presence near the fight. The combination of human noise, movement, and Ghost's fierce defense proved enough. The mountain lion broke away, limping rapidly into the underbrush on the opposite side of their position. Ghost remained standing, bleeding from fresh wounds across his flank and shoulder, but otherwise remarkably intact. For several seconds he stood frozen, panting heavily, eyes darting between the humans and the direction the lion had fled. Then, to their astonishment, he took a single step toward them before his legs buckled and he collapsed onto his side. Sarah, crying out. Mike. She was already moving toward the fallen shepherd. Mike, wait, approaching slowly. He's injured and terrified. He could still bite. But Ghost made no attempt to rise or defend himself as they cautiously closed the distance. His amber eyes tracked their movement, but the usual wariness had been replaced by something else. Exhaustion, pain, and perhaps recognition. A realization that his survival now depended on the humans he'd kept at a distance for so long. Sarah, softly, kneeling. It's okay, boy. We're going to help you. She slowly extended her hand, palm down, stopping just short of touching him. Ghost's eyes never left her face. His breathing was rapid and shallow. Then, an unforgettable moment, Ghost lifted his head slightly and pressed his muzzle against Sarah's outstretched fingers. It was the first voluntary contact in their year-long journey to earn his trust. Mike already had his phone out, searching for the nearest veterinary clinic, and simultaneously capturing the extraordinary moment on camera. Mike, the nearest emergency vet is 40 miles away. Pause. We need to figure out how to move him. Tears streamed down Sarah's face as she gently stroked Ghost's head. Sarah, we'll figure it out, whispering. We've got you now, Ghost. We've got you. Ghost's eyes drifted closed, his massive body finally surrendering to the humans who had spent a year proving they deserved his trust. The makeshift stretcher, fashioned from hiking gear and forest branches, proved inadequate for transporting a 70-pound German shepherd down treacherous mountain trails. After barely half a mile of struggle, Mike tried a different approach. Mike, let me carry him. He carefully slid his arms beneath Ghost's body. The shepherd whimpered, but remained surprisingly docile as Mike lifted him into a fireman's carry. Mike, grunting, this'll be faster. Lead the way. Find the clearest path. Sarah forged ahead, identifying the safest route, glancing back frequently to check on them. Ghost stayed remarkably calm, his head resting against Mike's back, occasionally releasing soft whines when movement aggravated his wounds. A normally 40-minute hike stretched into a grueling 2-hour ordeal. By the time they reached the SUV, Mike's muscles burned with fatigue and Ghost had grown worryingly quiet. Sarah, I'll drive. She opened the back where they'd already prepared a bed of blankets, anticipating this moment since beginning their rescue mission months ago. The 40-mile journey to Mountain Emergency Veterinary Clinic was tense. Sarah pushed the speed limit. Mike called ahead. Rural roads gave way to highways, then to Denver's outskirts, where the clinic waited. Veterinary staff rushed out with a stretcher, transferring Ghost efficiently from vehicle to care. He remained unnaturally compliant, his fight instinct seemingly replaced by complete surrender. Dr. Kessler, you found him in the wild? Assessing quickly. How long has he been out there? Sarah, at least a year. That we know of. We've been trying to rescue him for months. Dr. Kessler nodded, examining the wounds. Dr. Kessler dehydrated, multiple lacerations, consistent with a predator attack. But his condition is better than I'd expect after living feral this long. Mike confirmed they'd been feeding him regularly. Mike, we've been providing food every week. Sarah, will he be okay? Dr. Kessler, too soon to tell. The wounds aren't immediately life-threatening, but infection and capture stress can complicate things. We'll do everything we can. Ghost was wheeled into treatment, leaving Sarah and Mike with paperwork and difficult questions. Sarah, reading aloud, owner's name. She looked at Mike uncertainly. Mike, Put both our names, unhesitating, unless you don't want to. Hours passed. When Dr. Kessler returned, he was smiling slightly. Dr. Kessler. He's stable. We've cleaned and sutured the wounds, started antibiotics, fluids, and... Pause. We scanned for a microchip. Sarah and Mike exchanged startled glances. Dr. Kessler. He has one. Beat. Registered as Ranger, belonging to a Matthew Carpenter, from Wyoming. The unexpected information opened a new chapter in their journey. Dr. Kessler. We're legally required to contact the registered owner, but if he can't be reached or declines to reclaim him, you'd have the opportunity to adopt him. Sarah nodded, her emotions conflicting. Part of her already saw Ghost Ranger as theirs, but knowing he had a name and a past raised questions she hadn't considered. That evening, as they drove home in exhausted silence, Sarah's phone chimed. A text from Dr. Kessler. We reached Matthew Carpenter. He's driving from Wyoming tonight. Says he's been searching for Ranger for over a year. Wants to meet you both tomorrow. Sarah read it aloud, her voice barely above a whisper. Mike. So, he wasn't abandoned. Sarah, he was lost. The next morning they arrived at the clinic early. Dr. Kessler led them to a consultation room. A man in his early 40s waited, weathered features, neatly trimmed beard. He stood as they entered, eyes shining with both gratitude and exhaustion. Matt Carpenter, Sarah, Mike. I'm Matt. Thank you for saving my dog. He shared his story, a backcountry guide, solo winter trek. Disaster. Matt 3 days in, a storm hit. I slipped on ice while securing camp, broke my leg, cracked ribs, knocked unconscious. Ranger had stayed, refusing to leave, but as temperatures plummeted, Matt made the hardest decision of his life. Matt. He's trained in search and rescue. I tied a note to his collar, commanded him to get help. It took 3 tries before he left. Park rangers found Matt the next day, hypothermic, barely alive. By the time he could search for Ranger, winter had worsened. Matt. They found his collar and note near a station, but no sign of him. We assumed. He tried to come back and got caught in the storm. Matt never gave up. For a year, he searched shelters and wilderness trails across 2 states. Sarah and Mike shared their side. The long road to trust, the mountain lion, the moment he chose them. Matt, you did everything right. Pause. No wonder he trusted you. Together, they visited Ranger in a larger exam room. The shepherd's ears perked, his tail thumped weakly. When he saw Matt, his whole body lit up. He tried to stand, whining with recognition. Matt kneeling. Easy, buddy. I found you. I never stopped. Sarah and Mike watched, hearts full and aching. The bond was undeniable, beautiful, painful. But Ranger decided. After greeting Matt, he turned to them, whining until they came closer. He licked Sarah's hand, pressed his head into Mike's palm. Matt. He knows. Quietly. They never forget kindness. As they prepared to leave, Matt spoke gently. Matt. I live about 3 hours from here. I'd love for you to visit him. Any time. After what you've done, you're part of his life now. Sarah's shoulders finally relaxed. She smiled. Sarah. We'd like that. Mike. We've grown pretty attached to him. Matt. I get it. Pause. There's room in his life for all of us. 3 months later, Matt's property outside Laramie, Wyoming, Colorado. Summer bathed the land in green and wild flowers. Sarah held a familiar object, an old tennis ball. Sarah. Think he'll remember? Matt was waiting by a training course, but their attention was stolen by a streak of black and tan racing toward them from the tree line. Matt, here comes the welcome committee. Ranger, fully recovered, bounded toward them, scarred but magnificent. He reached Sarah first, dancing with joy but holding impeccable manners. At her signal, say hello. He rose on hind legs, paws gentle on her shoulders. Sarah, there's my wilderness boy. Then he greeted Mike with equal love. Over lunch, Matt shared news. Matt, the county, wants Ranger to join the search and rescue team. They say his wilderness experience gives him an edge. Sarah: that's perfect. Later, they hiked to a scenic overlook. Mike: how'd he get the name Ranger? Matt: he came with it. Park Service dog. Specialized in finding lost hikers. Retired for being too independent. I adopted him. Sarah: so, he was literally a ranger, then tried to save you. Survived in ranger territory. Now he's going back to rescue work? She smiled. Sarah full circle. Before they left, Matt revealed a surprise. A wall display, framed photographs of Ranger's journey. From adoption to wilderness survival to the reunion. Matt, I call it, the journey home. He handed them each a package, duplicates of every photo. Their goodbye wasn't a farewell. Just see you soon. As they drove away, Ranger stood beside Matt, watching from the rearview mirror until the road curved out of sight. Mike: you know what amazes me? S-A-R-A-H? What? Mike? A year ago we thought we were rescuing him. Turns out he was never truly abandoned. Sarah nodded, eyes misty. Sarah: maybe that's why it feels so right. We didn't just find him a home. We helped him find his way back to the one he already had. Fade out. If this story touched your heart, share it. Sometimes what seems like abandonment is just a detour on the journey home.